How are you guys doing? Today is Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday's matchups from Monday, November 1st. And of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today and just to take a quick look at where we are, to take a quick snapshot of where we are in the sports calendar year. There are still two teams competing for the 2021 World Series title as the World Series and the MLB playoffs is coming to a close. At the moment, the National League champs Atlanta Braves are leading the American League champs Houston Astros 3-2 as Game 6 is going to be played in Houston tonight. Taking a look at what's going on with football, the college football season and pro football season are at the moment underway. The NBA season just got started at the same time as the NHL. And of course, with soccer, we are just getting into yet another weekend of Champions League play as we get ready to see what's going on with the second half of group stage. But first, just to take a quick look at what's going on today, like I just mentioned, Game 6 of the MLB World Series will take place in Houston today. The Atlanta Braves go in with a 3-2 series lead, but Game 6 and Game 7, if necessary, would be played in Houston, so that would give the Astros as much of an advantage as it gives them, really. Taking a look at what's going on with football in the NFL, it was the final matchup of Week 8 of the 2021 NFL season as the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning AFC champs, hosted the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. The Chiefs would end up beating the New York Giants 20-7. After the Giants ended up taking a 17-14 lead in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs would end up tying it up with a field goal with 9 minutes left, and they ended up winning it with a field goal with 1 minute remaining in the game. Taking a look at how this game fared for both teams, looking at the Giants on the losing end, their starting quarterback out of Duke, Daniel Jones, threw for 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He also ran for 12 yards. That's 234 total yards of offense. The Giants leading rusher Devontae Booker finished with 15 carries for 60 yards. He also had 5 receptions through the air for 65 yards. That's 125 total yards of offense. Their leading receiver was John Ross, the current record holder for the fastest 40-yard dash in NFL Combine history, I believe. He had 2 receptions for 72 yards. On the defensive side of the ball, Adoree Jackson would lead the Giants in tackles. Logan Ryan would finish with 9, second on the team, and also on the team, Julian Love would finish with 2 tackles as he had a recovered fumble. Not to mention that Leonard Williams and Keon Crossan would finish with the team's 2 sacks. Speaking of Keon Crossan, he also recovered a fumble for the Giants as well. Looking at how the Chiefs fared on the winning end of this matchup, their elite starting quarterback, the $500 million man, Patrick Mahomes, would complete 29 of his 48 passing attempts for 275 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He would also run for 10 yards, so that's 285 total yards of offense. Their leading receiver was their elite wide receiver, Tyreek Hill. He would finish with 12 receptions for 94 yards and a touchdown. Their leading rusher, Darrell Williams, had 13 carries for 49 yards. He also had 6 receptions for 61 yards. That would combine for 110 total yards of offense for the Chiefs. On the defensive side of the ball, Nick Bolton would be their team's leading tackler as he had 11 of them. The team would combine for 3 sacks as one of them came from their elite defensive tackle, Chris Jones, as he had 2 tackles on the day. And Willie Gay, in addition with coming up with the second most tackles on the team with 9, he had Kansas City's only interception on the defensive end. With this win, the Kansas City Chiefs are 4-4, and with this loss, the New York Giants are officially 2-6. Taking a look at what's going on in the NBA, looking at yesterday's matchup, starting off in Atlanta, the Atlanta Hawks ended up hosting the Washington Wizards. The Hawks would end up beating their division rivals 118-111. The difference would come in the first quarter where the Hawks outscored the Wizards by 11 points and carried that momentum they just carried that lead through the end of the game, really. Looking at the Wizards on the losing end, their elite starting shooting guard, Bradley Beal, led the team in scoring. He had 24 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists alongside 2 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 10 for 21 from the field. He shot 3 for 11 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt on the night. Looking at the Atlanta Hawks, they were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Trae Young. He finished with 26 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists alongside 6 turnovers in 36 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, and he would make all 11 of his free throw attempts. With this win, the Atlanta Hawks are 4-3. With this loss, the Washington Wizards are 5-2. Taking a look at what's going on in Charlotte, the Charlotte Hornets hosted the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers would end up beating the Hornets 113-110. The Cavs ended up outscoring the Hornets by 19 points in the first quarter, and the Hornets inched it closer and closer, but they just couldn't bring the deficit to what they needed to come back and win, as the Cavaliers held on as tight as they could. Looking at the Hornets on the losing end, their leading scorer was their elite starting point guard, LaMelo Ball. He finished with 30 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and 6 fouls in 34 minutes, as he shot 12 for 22 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, and he would make his only free throw attempt of the night. Their starting shooting guards, Terry Rozier, would finish with 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 9 for 22 from the field, and he would make one of his 2 free throw attempts on the night. Looking at the Cavaliers, they were led in scoring by their starting center out of Texas, Jarrett Allen. He finished with 24 points and 16 rebounds alongside 3 blocks in 35 minutes. He shot 9 for 13 from the field, and he shot 6 for 9 from the foul line. Their starting power forward, Lauri Markkanen out of Arizona, finished with 21 points, 8 rebounds, a couple of steals, and a couple of blocks in 35 minutes. He shot 7 for 19 from the field, and he would shoot 5 for 6 from the foul line. With this win, the Cleveland Cavaliers are 4-4. With this loss, the Charlotte Hornets are now 5-3. Now jumping to Indianapolis, the Indiana Pacers hosted the San Antonio Spurs. The Pacers would end up beating the Spurs 131-118. The Pacers outscored the Spurs by 10 in the first quarter and by 12 in the second in order to win the game. To have a 22-point deficit at halftime. They won the game by 13, but of course that first half was the difference. Looking at the Spurs, they were led in scoring by their starting point guard, DeJounte Murray. He finished with 16 points and 6 assists in 26 minutes. He shot 6 for 10 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and he shot 1 for 2 from the foul line. Looking at the Indiana Pacers, they were led in scoring by their starting power forward, the reigning all-star Demonta Sabonis out of Gonzaga. He finished with 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists in 36 minutes. He shot 11 for 15 from the field, and he would end up making both of his free throw attempts for the day. With this win, the Indiana Pacers are 2-6. With this loss, the San Antonio Spurs are 2-5 at this point in the year. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the reigning Eastern Conference regular season champs, Philadelphia 76ers, hosted the Portland Trailblazers. The Sixers would end up beating the Trailblazers 113-103, winning by 10 after outscoring the Blazers by 9 in the second half alone. Looking at the Blazers on the losing end of this matchup, their leading scorer was their starting small forward, Norman Powell. He finished with 22 points in 29 minutes. He shot 8 for 12 from the field and a perfect 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Their elite starting point guard, Damian Lillard, finished with 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 10 assists in 36 minutes. He shot 7 for 20 from the field, 2 for 9 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the foul line. Their starting shooting guard, CJ McCollum, finished with 20 points as well in 40 minutes, as he would shoot 8 for 20 from the field on the night. Looking at the 76ers on the winning end, their leading scorer was their starting shooting guard, Seth Curry. He finished with 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists in 34 minutes. He shot 10 for 17 from the field. And then off the bench, their small forward, Georges Niang, would finish with 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in 31 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the Philadelphia 76ers are 5-2. With this loss, the Portland Trailblazers are now 3-4. Jumping out to Boston, the Boston Celtics hosted a surging Chicago Bulls team. The Bulls would end up beating the Celtics 128-114. The Bulls outscored the Celtics 39-11 by 28 points in the fourth quarter to come from behind and pick up a very big win. I mean, they were trailing by 14 going into the fourth quarter, and they won the game by 14. Looking at the Celtics on the losing end of this matchup, who still have yet to pick up a win at home, their starting shooting guard, Jaylen Brown, was their leading scorer. He had 28 points and 7 rebounds in 34 minutes. He shot 10 for 18 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. Their elite starting shooting guard out of Duke, Jason Tatum, would finish with 20 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals in 36 minutes. He shot 8 for 22 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. And the Celtics starting center, Al Horford, finished with 20 points and 10 rebounds in 33 minutes. Horford shot 8 for 15 from the field, and he made his only free throw attempt on the night. Looking at the Bulls, their leading scorer was their starting small forward, DeMar DeRozan. He finished with 37 points. He finished with 37 points and 6 rebounds in 34 minutes. And their starting shooting guard, Zach LaVine, would finish with 26 points and 7 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 9 for 20 from the field, and he made all 7 of his free throw attempts for the day. Taking a look at what was going on in Madison Square, I guess with this win, the Bulls are 6-1, and with this loss, the Celtics are 2-5. Bulls are still undefeated on the road. Celtics are still winless at home. Taking a look at what went down in Madison Square Garden, the New York Knicks hosted the Toronto Raptors from more than out of state, out of the country. The Raptors would end up beating the Knicks 113-104. The difference would be the third quarter, where the Raptors outscored the Knicks 38-22 by 16 points. Looking at the Knicks, their leading scorer was their starting shooting guard out of Duke. RJ Barrett would finish with 27 points and 6 rebounds in 39 minutes. He shot 9 for 13 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, and he would end up making 4 of his 6 free throw attempts on the day. Their starting power forward out of Kentucky, Julius Randle, would finish with 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists in 37 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and he would make all 4 of his free throw attempts. Looking at the Raptors, their leading scorer was their starting small forward out of Indiana, OG Anunoby. He finished with 36 points and 6 rebounds in 41 minutes. He shot 13 for 27 from the field, and he would end up making 6 of his 7 free throw attempts on the day. Their starting shooting guard out of Duke, Gary Trent Jr., would finish with 26 points and 4 steals in 43 minutes. He shot 10 for 22 from the field, and he would end up shooting a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. With this win, the Toronto Raptors are 5-3. They are 3-0 on the road. They are still undefeated, and the New York Knicks are now 5-2 at this point in the year. Taking a look at what's going on in Memphis, the Grizzlies hosted the Denver Nuggets, and that includes the 2021 regular season MVP. The Memphis Grizzlies would end up beating the Nuggets 106-97. The difference would come in the third quarter, where the Grizzlies outscored the Nuggets by 7. Looking at the Nuggets here, their leading scorer was the 2021 NBA MVP, their elite starting center, Nikola Jokic. He finished with 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists, alongside 4 blocks in 33 minutes. He shot 9 for 15 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, and he would shoot 3 for 4 from the foul line. And then looking at the Memphis Grizzlies, they were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Ja Morant. Ja Morant finished with 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists in 35 minutes. He shot 12 for 22 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and he would make 1 of his 2 free throws on the night. With this win, the Memphis Grizzlies are 4-3, and with this loss, the Denver Nuggets are also 4-3. at this point in the season. Taking a look at what's going on in Minneapolis, the Minnesota Timberwolves hosted the Orlando Magic. The Magic would end up beating the Timberwolves by 18. They won it 115-97. The Magic would outscore the Minnesota Timberwolves by 24 points in the fourth quarter in order to come from behind. They were trailing by 6, and they would still go on to win this game by 18. Looking at the Timberwolves on the losing end of this matchup, they were led in scoring by the 2020 NBA Draft's #1 overall pick, Anthony Edwards. Edwards finished with 24 points, 6 rebounds, and a couple of steals in 37 minutes, as he would end up shooting 10 for 22 from the field and 2 for 4 from the foul line. Their elite starting center, Karl Anthony Towns, finished with 23 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 8 for 17 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3, and he would shoot 4 for 7 from the foul line, 3 for 7 from the foul line. Their elite starting point guard, D'Angelo Russell, would play only 17 minutes as he finished with 3 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. He shot 1 for 8 from the field, and he shot 1 for 5 from 3. Looking at the Orlando Magic, they were led in scoring by their starting point guard, Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony finished with 31 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 8 for 17 from the field, 6 for 11 from 3, and 9 for 11 from the foul line. And their starting small forward, Franz Wagner, finished with 28 points, 2 assists, and 2 steals in 31 minutes. He shot 10 for 18 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3, and he shot 3 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the Orlando Magic are 2-6, and with this loss, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 3-3. Last but not least, jumping out to Los Angeles to the Staples Center, the Los Angeles Clippers hosted the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Clippers would end up beating the Thunder 99-94, winning this game by 5. They would have to outscore they would have to have outscored the Thunder, or I guess they outscored them by 13 points in the fourth quarter after they were trailing by 8 going in. Looking at the Thunder on the losing end, they were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Kentucky, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He finished with 28 points and 7 rebounds alongside 2 steals in 40 minutes. He shot 11 for 23 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and he made all 3 of his free throw attempts. Looking at the Clippers on the winning end, they were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Paul George. Paul George finished with 32 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals in 40 minutes. He shot 11 for 24 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, and he would shoot 5 for 6 from the foul line. With this win, the Los Angeles Clippers are 2-4 at this point in the season, and with this loss, the Oklahoma City Thunder are 1-6. That is what the NBA is looking like, and even if you were to take a look overseas, there's not much going on, but today we are inching into the 4th Tuesday of Champions League, and of course I can't wait to get into that. But of course, until then, I want to thank everyone first I want to thank the MLB websites, MLB, NBA, NFL, and of course FIFA, the websites, for giving me what I needed in order to do this episode. I want to thank everyone for listening to all 18 minutes. I apologize if I butchered any of the names. I do every episode, but I do plan on eventually getting them right. And now that I'm back in my groove, I'm really glad to really be a part of this journey, and eventually I will kick this up into a different gear. But for now, thanks for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and I will catch you with more tomorrow. Once all of today's episodes are complete. So until then, thanks for listening to my piece. Today is Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021, out here in this quarantine, and I'm James Sims. Thanks for listening to The Elite, and I'll catch you with another episode tomorrow. Peace.